All right, welcome everybody to Wellness Wednesdays. We are so excited for you to be on board with us tonight, and we have such an amazing opportunity for you to learn about one of our key top selling products called KM. And so it's Women's Health Month. We're celebrating the health of all of the amazing women, the powerful women that we have in our lives. We just celebrated Mother's Day. So here we go. I'm going to actually really quickly introduce to you our keynote speakers, and we have Rita Eisman on board. She's amazing. Many of you have heard her speak. And we also have a couple of health providers. We have another health provider who you will meet. This is me, by the way. And so as a metabolic fitness coach, what I love doing is empowering other women in their health and well-being. And so let's just go ahead and introduce the speakers tonight and go with it. So Rita Eisman comes to us from Reno, Nevada, and then a lot of you heard her on this broadcast, and we do this every Wednesday, 5:45 Pacific Standard. And then we also have Barbara Lippincott with us today, and Ralph Beats, our president and CEO of Reno, Nevada, is also going to be on board with us. So without further ado, Rita, take it away.
Thanks, Marlena, and thank you everybody for joining us tonight on Wellness Wednesday. We're going to be bringing you a really interesting topic and product called KM tonight. But before we get into the actual ingredients and how the product works, I wanted to just review quickly the science behind our products in general. When you take a look at Univera as a whole, Univera means one truth, and we support that by having clinical trials. We support that with having over 50 full-time scientists. Many of them have degrees in botany, medicine, dual degrees. And the whole premise is to study the aging process of the body, how we focus on that aging seesaw, how the body reacts or responds to the aging process, focusing on 300 billion cells within a 24-hour period of time. So what we do with Univera is we get the body and we place the body into an environment where it can push up naturally on repair and simultaneously push back against the damaging forces of aging. And in order to do this, we have behind us the firepower of 2 genomic labs. Years ago, there was barely any understanding of what a genomic lab was, let alone our company owns 2. And within that lab, we own the world's largest functioning plant library. So to date, we have over 19,000 plants that we have scientifically studied down to their genetic fingerprints to look to see which aspect, which extract of different plants helps to push the body into a state of repair. In addition to that, we are one of the few companies, if not the only company, that has over 160 patents and patents pending. We have multiple studies, multiple published papers. We have the scientists, as I stated, but we also have agriculture. And we take everything from thought to farm to family so that when you ingest one of the Univera products, you can trust that you are ingesting something that is efficacious, has been studied, all of the homework has been done, and that it will do exactly what the label is stating. Push your body into a state of repair. With me tonight, and as we start with every Wellness Wednesday, we open the segment with a testimonial. And I have with me tonight Barb. Barb is a phenomenal associate within Univera. And Barb, you have had a tremendous life-changing product experience as a result of utilizing the KM. Would you please share with us your personal story about why you love KM so much?
Thank you, Rita, and everybody else. I so appreciate you listening in to us tonight. I'm honored to have been asked to do this because of all the years I've been with Univera. I've never shared this with, I think, 3 people, plus my 2 sisters who are associates, and then with Ralph. So, my story, it goes back a ways, but I was first diagnosed with an issue in the late 80s and didn't know what to do for it, medicine. And then it got worse, and had a different diagnosis or additional one in the late 90s, about 1996. And then it got worse again until 2008, and I was told what I have by sending my blood work to a diagnostic lab in California. And I sent an email to a physician friend of mine in Europe, and she called me the next day. And the first thing she said to me was, Barb, you got to change your thinking. She said, you are what you think, and you cannot program your brain. Now, you can say you were diagnosed with this, but you better never claim it. And she said, the second thing that you have to do is somewhere in the United States, you find somebody that sells something called KM. What's that? And she said, it doesn't matter. Just find somebody and you get back to me because you're going to have to take this because you've got to figure out what in the world helped to create that issue. And she said, well, her terminology was you screwed it up. And so she said, the first thing that you're going to do with KM is to support that device. She was an amazing tonic. And she went on and on and on about it. So it took me a while, but I finally found somebody that I could get it from. And I started taking it. And it was a slow process. If I had not believed her and trusted her, I probably would have given up on it because I wanted that miracle cure, and it was a slower process because I didn't get this issue quickly. And she told me, well, you need to do a protocol for at least a month for each year before you're going to be noticing what's different. So anyway, I stuck with it. And I began to see improvement. I could get out of bed, I could dress myself. I was beginning to look like a human. My skin was horrible. I could give you a whole long list of crap. But that KM started making a difference, and it was showing up in my blood. Now, where the other little hurt came in that I'm really, really grateful and was blessed about was when Latal was bought by Univera. Because when I started the extra, that was like, the extra and the KM together was, for me, was like hitting the mother load. Because I tested to always be malnourished, and all of a sudden, I was getting better and absorbing those nutrients and taking the aloe. I mean, it takes a village. But that KM was priceless.
So, Barb, when you look at the product KM, it has a very unique combination of different compounds. How was that product how did it even come about? Who was the person that put this all together?
Well, the man you're seeing on your screen, Dr. Carl Urat, he has an amazing story. And once I got introduced to Univera, it dawned on me that Dr. Urat was to Latal like Bill Lee or Young Holy was to Univera. They have the same type missions, the same integrity, and now legacy, and the desire to help humans, mankind. And I learned to start out very slowly, a fourth of a teaspoon to a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon to a tablespoon to much more. And it just changed my life. But it's the combination of all of those minerals together. And if you can go with Marlene, if you can go back to that screen of Dr. Urat. Can you go back to the one with Dr. Urat, Marlene? If you can, I can't see all of the screen because of seeing all of you guys. But this was the famous quote that Dr. Urat was known for. The knowledgeable scientists could devote their life's pursuit to unraveling the mystery, locking this unique molecular combination, and still come up empty-handed. He said, I feel privileged to have been inspired to create this formula. No scientist could figure out how it worked because of his story of having that formula revealed to him in a dream and going back to the lab and finishing his formula. You know, and he was only 19 years old, if you guys know. You know, I don't take the time to tell his whole story.
No.
But his doctorate in agrobiology when he was 19 years old. He's a pretty intelligent guy.
Now, with us on our Zoom this evening is our company president, Dr. Ralph Feats. He is also a scientist. And Ralph, when you and I were discussing CAM earlier and today and weeks ago and whatnot, you were talking about that there is a myth surrounding how KM works. And would you please address how we can break this myth? What is the key information that we want to get out regarding KM?
Well, I think Barbara said it so well earlier in that it's about supporting the homeostasis optimally of the blood. And there's some of the myth, and I think some of the misunderstanding that was going around was this is somehow alkalizing a diet or it's alkalizing your GI. And I've heard that many, many times and it never made sense to me. And it was so refreshing to kind of have this discussion with Barb, clear all this up about its direct impact. And in top of that, for years we've looked for the original research that, again, was performed on this. And it's extensive. And I got a copy of it right here on preclinical research that was done on KM. And there's just a number of studies in this book. We'll make it available by PDF. I'm going to have Farah do that. But there's 73 pages of scientific evidence on KM here, from safety studies to, again, the ways that it has improved, influenced, again, from a very quantitative scientific viewpoint on giving optimal health and optimal again, supporting that homeostasis, that optimal pH of the bloodstream. And so, and to Barbara's credit, after all of the research that we did, after all of the hundreds of papers that we sorted through after the acquisition of KM, after looking through the master formulas, which some of us did ingredient by ingredient in grueling detail, this was a missing link. And guess who had it? Ms. Barbara Lopicott. So Rita,
thank you. I was muted there for a second. Oh my gosh. So Barb, with that information that Ralph just revealed to us, what is the process when someone is drinking KM, and it is a liquid, it also comes in a capsule form, but when they're utilizing the product KM, what is it indeed doing for the system?
It's supporting the whole digestive system, for sure, in addition to the blood, because our small and large intestines, they're all acidic, except the lower part of the small intestine, and it is more alkaline, and that's where we absorb our nutrients and everything. And it's acidic because of all the digestive secretions we release. The food we eat, the fatty, the short chain, short, medium, I think it's just a short amino fat. But if we're not supporting our digestive system, then how can we process all of what's going into our body? It's going to, people think, well, you have to eat all alkaline food. No, that's not true. Because when that food hits our stomach, we're looking at a 2 pH, which is pure acid. So that's a myth that we're doing all having that need for that food to go into our tummy. No.
So
provide the fuel for your body to do what it's designed to do. And we don't often do that. We have so many people I say that are on soft drinks, what I call soft drinks. I don't drink those things. Some people call them pop, some people call them colas or whatever. And I tell people, the minute you consume that, all that phosphoric acid that's in it, you're just going to start leaching calcium right out of your bones. Because it reminds me of something my dad used to say when we were growing up. He had employees that he lend money to. And he said they're always borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. And that's the way I look at my system sometimes, because if I don't give my body what it needs, it's going to get it somehow. And the first place it can find those good minerals is right out of the bones. So just leaches that calcium right out, because it's going to help me maintain the proper pH. And that's a story to get into, but.
And speaking of the pH, Ralph, one of the ladies that I was speaking with today, her first question to me was, what ingredients are within the product? And looking at the bottle of KM that I have here in front of me, we have in this particular product. Sodium, we have 2 grams of carbs. We have calcium, iron, iodine. And potassium, and we have a proprietary herbal extract that has a list of about 14 different botanicals that Marlena has shown on the screen. What is it about each of those different compounds that create this ability for KM to help alkalinize the blood?
Well, one of the things, and let's come to that, but one of the things I want to mention first, before we get away from it, when we're talking about the acidity of different parts of the stomach, the GI tract. And even the part of it that's alkaline. As much as we talk about the amazing botanical extracts that go into KM, it is a very, very high mineral content. And again, just what you read off there right up front is important, because if you take what Barbara was saying earlier about if we have these high sugar American diets with the phosphoric acid or the sugars could is taken by the microbiome and immediately turned into acid. As it ferments out like that, instead of having those things leach out your system, in the case of for example, the colas, if you're taking KM, you're getting that iron, that calcium, very, very high in potassium, and you're actually feeding these minerals and this mineral balance into your body for uptake, as opposed to something that's actually going to have the leaching effect and out.
So when you're utilizing that and the body's ingesting it, some of these minerals, people are not getting them. In their normal diet. So they're starting from a basement level. When you're bringing levels back up into a more natural, ideal, optimized situation, what does the body do now? To best utilize these compounds. How does it help the system?
Well, you're going to uptake this, and again, you're going to have the minerals, especially the potassium, balancing the sodium potassium in your bloodstream out. So you're going to be, again, reaching an optimal health and optimal homeostasis of that pH in the blood. And so between that and between a lot of these natural extracts, again, you're supporting the body in many, many different ways. And one of the things that I want to actually go back to at this point, if we can, is one of the best line by line breakdowns of each ingredient. I'm actually going to let Barb tell that. I mean, I could go through that, but, and I've got a book on that too, but she did such a great job when we Florida of just kind of walking through of kind of some of those major components in those extras. And how they actually optimal health.
Okay, Barb, take. it away. We've got a nice screen, all of these.
Good. Now, I'm on that list. Um, I hope that new variable will give that list to. Everybody. I know it's on our bottles, but if you read each of those ingredients, nearly every one of them supports digestion.
Yeah.
I mean, every one. But then he goes down to all these one. And it's for the guys.